to the video blog. Well, no planes, trains, automobiles, or really nice scenes today. Sorry about that. Back to boring old me. But today I just want to spend a few minutes on one of the aspects of IT service management, and that is the notion of culture and changing culture. At the ITSMF Australian Conference and meetings I've held subsequently, and my blog and Twitter, one of the interesting comments that's come up of how do you really change the culture of an IT organisation? How do you really ensure that the first aspect of that culture, which is one of the underpinning tenements of ITIL, which is communication, is implemented? And one of my friends in Japan asked me a great question, like we've been talking about communication for many years, but how do you implement it? And it's a hard topic, isn't it, really, when you think about it? I mean, the first thing you want to do is fundamentally change the way you communicate. And I don't have a good answer, I must tell you. I'm kind of a bit stumped. So I've been thinking it through about communication and thinking about how when I rolled out change management many years ago, how we went about communicating it. So there are three aspects I want to talk about in communication. First is senior manager support. To change the culture and change the communication, when we rolled out change management, the first thing we did is we had the CIO send out a note to everybody saying that all change must be managed through the change management system. Now that helped us by having his support. He also leveraged his support by saying that if you fail to use the system and don't have appropriate reasons why not, then he personally would be speaking to you and looking for some form of behaviour modification with you, whether that was a new training course or some education or something else. The second thing is we provided a tool that helped people leveraging change to automate the process and have to reduce the amount of input they would have to do. That tool identified changes that we did constantly and we put them in as requests. So if you did something over and over and over again, very quickly, if it was not a request, it turned out to be a request with minimum data required. The second thing we did is major change. We linked straight into the project and portfolio management system, so that as the project and portfolio management system identified a new piece of work happening, it was already documented. I think that's a fundamental requirement, and most change implementations I see today ignore that. That's one you can do straight away. And then the third thing we did is we measured success and we advertised success. And that's the key element that made it real. We benchmarked before we implemented the change management system, and we looked at our service levels and the outages, changes implemented with problems, and linked them together. Then we measured afterwards. With major projects that were managed effectively through a good change management system, with the right people on board, the right testing done, and the right skill sets, we almost had a 100% success rate. Now, if you didn't manage the change cycle, you rushed it through, did things like urgent or emergency changes, success was not so high. You have to have benchmarks, you have to have value statements, and you have to communicate well. So going back to the initial topic of communication, we used all these three pinnacles or principles to help us communicate. We communicated how well you were doing, we communicated where there was room for opportunity, we communicated the business impact and service levels being available, and we communicated that we were delivering business satisfaction. It was a start. We had a long way to go. So tomorrow I'll probably talk a bit more about communication as well. And I'll talk about the fact that, have we helped the business learn IT language? Or have we made the business learn IT language? And is that the right or the wrong thing? I'll leave that question with you. Thanks for joining me today, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye now.